Hi everyone, my name is Ben and I'm the creator of TerrainMaker.com, and today we're going to walk through how you can use this tool to make a beautiful 3D print of some selection of terrain from around the world. Alright, so after you've signed into TerrainMaker, this is the screen that you'll land at, and this is the New Projects tab. Just for a little bit of interface, on the very top you have three tabs: New Projects, Save Projects, and the Model Editor. Model Editor is where you're going to be spending most of your time. New Projects is just for capturing terrain data. So let's do that real quick, and we'll just grab something random here. Whatever's in these mountains here, we'll just grab something. There we go, whatever. And then as you can see, there's some buttons over here that you can click to visualize if you choose these shapes later on for the actual size of your or shape of your terrain. This is what will be captured. So if you need to make some micro adjustments or whatever, you can drag this around, you can drag the handles here, and everything gets adjusted. So we're just going to leave it like that. Capture terrain data. This can take a minute, especially if you're grabbing a large amount of data. And then you'll be presented with this project settings tab. This is where you can name this. I don't know if this is Montana or Idaho, but then you just save your changes. Now this project is going to be stored for you. It's going to be saved for you, and all the edits that you make in the model editor will also be saved for you, so you can come back and work on it over however much time you need to get it finished up and looking good. And then what you can do here is, once it's selected in this left-hand pane, in the bottom right, click Open Project, and then it'll start processing and creating the actual 3D model. And again, just some interface stuff here. The right-hand pane, you'll see these different buttons. These are all little mini editors. So these are going to be the areas where you go and actually make adjustments to these models. So let's go ahead, and a lot of this stuff is really self-explanatory. You can go explore for yourself, but if you click Model Settings, it allows you to change the base shape, modify the bounds if you need to. It's kind of a nice little feature. It'll reprocess everything, so it takes a minute, but if something is accidentally bumped off of your map, you can just modify the boundary without recreating the whole project and starting over with all the settings. So elevation, scale, smoothing, all that stuff. This one's actually important. The diameter in millimeters here at the bottom, it'll say something different based on what shape you have selected, but try and get this to what you're actually going to be printing it at. Always adjust this one. This one's important to always kind of look at. You don't want to be scaling these models after you put them into your slicer. You totally can. It comes out in an amazing resolution, so you are able to, but there's some things that will not make much sense if you're doing scaling. For example, if you set your base thickness, the thickness of this extra piece of model, if you've brought that up to 3 and you're expecting that to be 3 millimeters in your print, if you're scaling that in your slicer, it's not going to be 3 millimeters anymore. It's going to be something else. So anyway, take note of that one. This is a good editor to change the shape of your model. So we're just going to click Apply and Return. And these next two boxes, this is where you can add color to your prints, and you actually get some interesting things happening here. So you can see I just turned on elevation layers, and it sliced the model into these horizontal pancake layers. You can see it here. I've got a green layer, gray, and a white layer. So, and you can just adjust those if you need to. It looks like this white layer is taking up quite a bit, so adjust that down, adjust that up, apply layers, and you can play with that. That one's pretty self-explanatory. You can also insert layers if you want to. If you wanted this mountain to be, exploding or whatever, you can add some lava coming out the top. There you go. That's not good. All right, let's delete that. Apply layers, save project, and click Apply and Return. The next is Feature Painter. This one is super cool. I love this. I love this editor. Once you open it, you'll be greeted with a top-down view of your map. And you're on this left-hand side here, you can scan for features. So we're just going to scan for some water features. And it's picked up a bunch here. The way that this is sorted is actually sort lakes and bodies of water first, and then it'll do rivers afterwards. So if you're not interested in adding any of these little tiny lakes, then you can just filter them out by unclicking the lake, and then you can just see all the major rivers here. You can see all those little rivers cutting through the mountains, looking really good. Add that one there. I see a couple more that I might want to add. Yeah, that's pretty good. When you're adding features here, they get added to this right-hand pane, and this is where you can adjust the width of these. So looks like a lot of these rivers are major rivers, but if you wanted to like really make one stick out, you could increase its width and you could decrease the width of the others. And by the way, we have these width groups up at the top. You can just click to drop that feature into that width group, and it'll shrink up the width of that. If you need to adjust the width, then you can do it here. Let's bring those down to 0.5, and we'll click apply and return. And you can see that now those rivers and streams have been added to the map, and those are not elevation based. Those layer on top of the elevation, so it actually looks like streams and rivers. And I'll be the first to admit that the way that it paints these rivers and hiking trails onto the top of the map is just mediocre. Once you get into the slicer and get it sliced, it looks really good. So have a little trust in the system here for it to give you good results. The last editor that we have here is called mounting options, and this allows you to for now add holes in the back that you can stick little magnets into. This is so that you can have a way to click this terrain model into some other bracket that you design, or eventually maybe this app will be designing those brackets as well. You can see on the left hand side here I do have a mounting bracket option. It's kind of playing with it right now, but maybe by the time that you see this video it'll be released, at least a rudimentary bracket so that you can hang it on your wall. After you've selected magnet holes, you do have to use this right-hand pane drop down for it to be enabled in the middle editor, because these editors are going to be different. Like if I had mounting brackets here, then that would be a different editor. So if I have magnet holes selected, this is a great way to just add these holes. There's a bunch of settings here that you can play with. You can change the number of magnets, distance to center. You can move away from this circular pattern and go to a grid pattern and just add brackets wherever you want them, you know, or add magnets wherever you want them. We'll apply that in return. And you can see that those magnet holes are now cut out of this model, so at least you can just check on it. And what you see is what you get. So when you export this here, you'll get all these different colors. Each of these colors are going to be a different object inside of your slicer. So the water will all be one object, so you can just apply a filament to the water and it'll all get that filament will get applied to all of these water features. And then same with each of the horizontal layers here. So you can change the color of these in your slicer super easily. Anyway, that's the super quick rundown of TerrainMaker.com. I hope you find this tool really useful, and I would love to see some of the prints that you make from it. Go ahead and share. And if you're having trouble paying for some of the pro features, the pro features are $3. We'll add 30 days of pro to your account. If you're having trouble coming up with that money, email me, ping me, whatever. I'll just give you access. I'm not trying to make a ton of money on this thing. I'm trying to get a cool tool out there, but I do need to have it be making a little bit of money so that I can support some of the hosting costs and things like that. So anyway, appreciate you taking the time to take a peek. And okay, last thing, I guess I won't be so lazy. Let me show you how the export looks and how to make the adjustments in your slicer to get the colors added. So I'm gonna go ultra quality export here, and you'll see it gets added to the process queue. All right, and then when it's downloaded, you can just click on it and it'll launch it in your slicer. It'll give you a couple warnings right when you launch your slicer, you can just click OK through them, click OK on that first one. And then this object says there's multiple parts in this file. You want to click yes on this. That'll ensure that you get those different objects so you can apply different filaments to those objects. Now, when you're in here, what you'll see is your slicer will apply probably your primary filament to all the different objects here. But what you want to do is go into this left-hand pane over here, click on objects, and now you can see all the different exported objects that go along with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make base mesh and unified water. We're just going to make those blue. Oh, I don't have blue loaded. We're going to make those black. And then you can start applying layers to these other, applying filaments to these other layers as well. So I don't have any of my mountain colors loaded, but I'll just make this one brown. I'll make this one kind of like a canyon red. And I'll make this one like a sandy, like whatever. So as you can see, filament is applied to all the different objects, and the width has been retained, and so has a lot of the detail. We probably should have put at least a little bit of smooth on here, but let's go ahead and slice this, and so you can see how it looks once it's sliced. I forgot to mention one thing. It is actually kind of important. The app is set up in a way where whatever you export and that you want to be on top, like all of your feature painted layers, your water, your hiking trails, those should always be on top of your other filaments, the terrain filaments. So that's actually, you can actually adjust that here as well. You shouldn't really have to do much, but if I had a hiking trail here and it was above water here, like in between base mesh and water, then that could be an issue, because that would make it so that the water would take precedent over the hiking trail, which is not usually what you want. You might, but it's not usually what you want. You usually want the hiking trail to be on the very, very top layer, taking precedent, taking priority over that space. So if the two overlap, then it'll consider the hiking trail as taking priority, and it'll draw the hiking trail over the water. What you would want to do is you could just take that hiking trail and you could just drag it underneath the unified water here. So anyway, let's turn off seams because those are ugly. And let's take a look at this. So you can see here that the water streams that we've selected at 0.5 millimeters are getting about one width worth of our filament from the extruder. So you don't want to go too much lower than that. You can, but what you may end up seeing is that some of your water might start disappearing. So just keep an eye on that. 0.4, I've gone down to 0.4, works pretty well for small streams and stuff, but 0.5 works well as well. So you can see this other one has a little bit more leeway. It actually has some fill coming in on the top and everything. So there you have it. That's how you use TerrainMaker.com. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to help you out, and I'd love to see some of your prints. So take care. We'll talk soon. Thanks.